3, 2, 1.
Local sausage makers, they all make their best and they enter it.
I bet it's delicious.
It is. It's February 9th, 7 p.m. at Prairieland Park. Tickets are only $25. It's for charity, and you can get tickets online at
Oh, baby's having a meltdown.
Well, you're thinking about sausage, so.
Come with me. I will show you another world. Step into the realm of the parallel universe.
Hi.
Open your eyes. You will see. Traveling through space. Into another world.
White noise, boys! Back for episode number 3. Oh man!
Alright, thanks, Ethan. You broke the flow that I was struggling to establish, and now I have a new flow of being mad at you. So, why don't we, before we start the episode, you know, this is White Noise Boys, recorded for 5/22/2016. I'm your host, Chris Taylor. That asshole who broke my flow, what is your name?
Ethan.
And who's that other asshole?
Dude, yeah, what's up everyone? It's Aleks, Lord Petrie, the Butter Sizzle, back for episode number 3. Oh man! Okay, I'm a little excited.
Alexander's hype, we're gonna cast some pods in your face. Yeah. Segue.
Segway.
Segue num.
Segue, way.
So,
alright, let's go.
What do you guys got going on this week? Whoever I like, talk first. I like that. Silence was telling.
Dude, who do you like, Chris? I mean, really.
Anyway.
This week was really great. For me, I think. I've been. Well, okay. So in our notes it says contemplating why I haven't killed myself because of technical.
I mean, really, what do you have to live for?
Dude, every single day, the morning sunrise, the evening sunset. No, let's not BS ourselves. There was an ice cream fair in front of my house, which got me a little depressed because the lines were so huge. All these fucking gluttons in my neighborhood.
It's like 60 degrees today. You know, when I need to wear a coat, you know what goes great with big coats? Ice cream.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Dude, yeah, I love ice cream in the wintertime the best. Dude, I know. Pizza and ice cream is the best.
When you're depressed, you eat ice cream. When you're happy, you eat ice cream. It's like, it's the thing for every mood.
Dude, I know. It's the best for everything. Except when you have to wait for other people to get your ice cream. Oh, that's unfortunate.
So are mine, but I'll still fucking suck it up so I can have my goddamn ice cream.
Dude, you suck. All I have to resort to is drinking water. But yeah, so contemplating why I haven't killed myself.
Hold up.
Because of technical
Alexander, you gotta
difficulties.
stop. We're being rude. We forgot to introduce our fourth guests. Say hello, Mr. Rainier. And that was our fourth guest.
Oh, that was spectacular. Well, now that Mr. Rainier is out, by the way, we're not being sponsored by them, so...
Support your
well,
local
maybe
beer.
Chris is. Yeah, I've been having some issues getting my shit set up. Basically, what we wanted to do is to have multiple people...
Step 1. Sit. That's the most important step.
Dude, I haven't gotten my squatty potty yet, alright?
So fucking make one.
I do. I actually have a little stool that I use. It works wonders.
So anyway,
It just flows. Everything.
So tell
just
me about
flows
how you're an
naturally.
idiot and you inconvenienced me this week, because that's what we're really here to talk about.
Yeah. So basically, I had to hook Chris up with two. What are those? Black and milds. Um, or one, whatever, to help me set up
One
this
was required. The second
virtual
one was a
audio
bribe,
board.
so I would give you less of a hard time about it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I didn't think about it like that back when I purchased them. It was I actually bought two because they had a minimum purchase on debit cards. I didn't even have cash.
Okay. And then
so
you
so
tried
I
to
was like,
play
oh
it
well,
off
fuck.
like you were being a homie.
Oh, dude, of course I'm a homie. It just so happened to also be convenient before, when I had to buy it.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, so basically, I'd managed to set up this virtual soundboard
It's
called
not a
Voice Meter
soundboard.
Banana, which
It's an
we're also
It's a
not being.
virtual audio mixer where you lay virtual audio cables to control the flow of sound between different applications on your computer.
Thank you for that.
A soundboard is where I
Beautifully.
go on Newgrounds and I click a button and then Duke Nukem says, "I'm back, baby," like 40 times in a row.
I love the
You know,
Samuel L.
speaking
Jackson
of
one.
Newgrounds, it was
The
actually
best.
down last night. I was so bored, I decided to go there, and it was down. Yeah, it went down.
Dude,
Actually,
it went
I don't even know
down?
if it's up yet.
No.
Okay, so
Dude, we
Alexander,
need to
please
check
continue.
that. So yes, I essentially managed
Not click a button when you should
to
have clicked a button, and that's why your audio didn't work.
basically wire it in such a way to where I was getting
It
my
was
own
no,
feedback
it was
loop,
it was
which
wired
was
correctly. The difference is that you didn't click all the buttons at the same time.
whatever, dude. It was.
It's okay. We all
I'm glad I have friends that know what they're
I
actually
figured it
doing.
out in an hour. We all can't have a base level of competency. So speaking of incompetency, Ethan, what have you been up to? I see you've been breaking stuff.
No, other people. Well, no, I break people, not things. I fix things that other people break.
well, that's a really positive outlook.
Dude, are you into waterboarding? Is that
We
what
said
you're
break,
talking
not
about?
enhanced interrogation.
I only wish that I could be part of one of those crews.
That's disgusting, and I don't want to talk to you anymore.
It would be much more interesting and
is there a
probably
bonus for
more
that kind of line of
fulfilling work than what I do right now.
Dude, I'm glad that you find showering water down people's throats fulfilling work. Do you work at restaurants? Do you serve water?
You know,
Restaurant? No.
What?
pour water
the
down someone's
hell?
throat. It's fulfilling for both you and them. Just in
What
different
was
ways.
that analogy, Alexander? Are you trying to tell me everybody
Oh,
who works at a restaurant is basically working at Guantanamo Bay? Because that's what you said.
I mean, dude, maybe that was not meant to be interpreted
This just
that
in.
way, but hey.
Alexander hates waiters. He probably doesn't even tip.
Dude, I tip like a mother. Well, only in
I'm gonna tweet
places
about
where
this
I
so
like
people are
porn.
gonna know if it's edited, by the way. You better leave that in. So what have you been up to, Ethan? Now that it's been 15 minutes and we made it through one line on our outline.
All right. I'm just stuck in New Jersey, doing the same old thing every day. Fixing aircraft, or more so, preventing other people from breaking aircraft.
Wait, so tell me about this. How are people breaking aircrafts?
Well, people like go out there and write up discrepancies that are not discrepancies, and I have to go out and clear them. I like go out and sign it off and be like, "You're a dumbass." But it actually usually ends up being something like no defect noted, inspection not required, things like that.
So what's a common actual defect in with the aircraft that you
A
have?
common actual like real problem is like a tire that needs changed. because they go through tires like fucking cotton candy.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Oh,
give
dude.
you a pro tip, Ethan. When we're talking about stuff on a podcast, we're trying to have a conversation with each other. So you should end your sentence with a piece of information that somebody else can ask you more about. Like, for example, why do we go through tires a lot? What kind of pressures are placed on tires during landing?
You know, probably the entire aircraft. Not on each individual tire, obviously, but uh,
Yeah, so I was gonna ask on a tire, like, how much of the rubber is burnt off during a landing?
I couldn't tell you like an exact amount. I'd say probably at least like 1/32 of an inch, give or take. But yeah, if you ever watch large cargo aircraft land, you'll see generally a big puff of smoke come from underneath the tires with pretty much every landing. And that is when the aircraft hits the ground and they have engaged the brakes, and that's usually at least 1 to 2 30 seconds of an inch of rubber that comes off of there. And we have a limit for how many 30 seconds of an inch of tread can be missing before we have to replace said tires.
I mean, somebody's got to keep the military-industrial complex
Yeah,
going.
why not?
It might as well be.
That's why we're never getting off
restrictions.
petroleum and fossil fuels, dude. I'm down. No, it's also, so side note, one of my favorite
Okay.
things,
Yeah,
right?
whatever.
Electric cars and all this environmentally friendly shit. All these things need tires. Tires are made from rubber, which comes from what?
Uh-huh.
There you go. Anyways,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So, damn. Is there what's the most exciting thing that you've repaired on a plane yet?
Is it a snake?
Ha. No. Oh. Most exciting thing.
Is it as exciting as this dead air?
No. No, like, I haven't really replaced a whole hell of a lot of stuff on the aircraft yet. The aircraft that I'm on is quite large, and so every time that I get to climb up inside the tail of the aircraft, it gets me somewhere around 60 some odd feet in the air, and that's pretty exciting. I have fun going up there every time I gotta go up there. I'd say probably my most exciting experience is being
is
up
that where you
inside.
Facebook message me from?
What was that?
You Facebook message me from inside the tail of an airplane? Is that why your Wi-Fi is so bad? You're in an airplane, and that's why we can't play Resident Evil 6?
No,
Okay.
no, mostly
I just figured that's where you were Facebook messaging me from, like you got a pillow up in there.
no. Actually, I would not mind that
Dude, is it
if
comfortable?
I had the exact same internet. I would say that it is not, because it's a bunch of steel ribs and whatnot. But when you get up in there, any sort of wind is like magnified. So if, like, you're standing on the ground, wind feels like 15 miles an hour. That's not too bad. You know, you just kind of walk around, you're fine. You go up into the tail of an aircraft with such a large surface area getting pushed on by the wind, and the tail is probably rocking back and forth like, 3 to 4 feet. And once you get all the way up to the top, it's crazy. It feels like you're on some kind of circus, or not circus, like
Oh man,
carnival ride.
that sounds like a wonderful puke fest. You ever puke up in there while that happens?
No, it's not like really fast back and forth, but you notice if you like stop and you take a moment and you feel yourself like almost floating back and forth
Sounds
midair.
like being on drugs.
But there's a light bulb that we have to change up in there every now and again, so.
It sounds like a fun job, dude. Did you get that promotion? Did that ever work out?
I'm not gonna know until
man,
like
so it's a
July. Yeah.
It's not as far away as I am from being done the task that I have been doing for multiple days, let's talk about JSON, right? So, this week, I have been up to working on a redesign of local restaurant. Excellent place. You should stop by, even though I don't like their food because I dislike their fryer
Dude, wait, what
oil.
kind of oil did he
But
use?
don't let that stop you. Bamboo Garden. Been I don't know. It might not even be the oil. It might be the because it's vegetarian Chinese, right? And I don't think I like the fake meat, but they're very, very popular. My wife gets them all the time. I just get the Thai food next door. But I've been working on their website, and their
Ugh.
website is built in HTML1. Frames didn't exist
Ugh.
yet, so they have a nav bar in their entire page built out of tables. Uh, I spent probably spent about 14 hours now converting a menu Word document into JSON. And because of the way their menu's forwarded, I just can't easily use like multi-line edit
Dude,
mode,
that sounds disgusting.
just because it's inconsistently formatted. So I've written about like 3,400 lines of JSON and want to kill myself. Eventually, what I'll be doing is I'll be using this JSON data along with Angular to create a templated out menu in such a way that none of the content is coded directly into the page ever, and it is always dynamically generated via JSON, which makes the website
Absolutely.
very easy to maintain. But right now, it's just setting up
Yeah,
the
but
data, which is a fucking
dude, think about all
nightmare.
the skills you're gaining from
That's all I've been up to, really.
writing all those lines of JSON.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you'll never forget it.
like, yeah, I know where the curly braces are for sure. Never. Yeah. Curly braces like 9/11 are easy to remember.
Dude, you are fucking horrible. That was amazing.
So, speaking of 9/11, I have
Oh,
been playing Devil
segue,
May Cry
segue,
4
segue.
this week. You like that sick seg? Uh, Devil May Cry 4 is came out before last week. I've been playing the reboot DMC. Devil May Cry 4 came out before that, so it's weird to go back. It's there are a few distinct changes to the controls that were made in DMC that are not the case
So
here, and as a
you like
result, doing
the
a lot of
changes
things
better?
is clunky. And I do, but there's actual character variety in DMC. There's you can play. So I just got apparently halfway through the campaign, the starting campaign with the character Nero. Nero's where they introduce the idea of pulling enemies to you, except some enemies are too big, so you pull yourself to them. So it's a little limited because in DMC you pick which you want to do, which gives you a lot of tactical options depending on the space you're fighting, the enemies you're fighting, how the battle is shaping up right then. So it's a little limiting in that way. But I finished 11 missions with him, and then immediately started playing as Dante, the main character from Devil May Cry 1 through 3, and then immediately started going through all the areas I had just went through backwards. So far I'm on my second character. There's I can also play as Virgil from Devil May Cry 3, and Trish and Lady. So there's like 5 different characters to play through the game. So I haven't experimented with their combat styles yet. I'm just checking out the story, which lol, it's a Devil May Cry story, so it's pretty good. By pretty good, I mean
I
really
like
fucking
that kind
dumb.
of dumb.
But it's really dumb in a way you
It's
want.
enlightening.
Uh, it it's good. I would have to say that for my money, Devil May Cry 3 is the best Devil May Cry game, but DMC is the best playing one. DMC, a lot of the tonal stuff is awful, and the way it's written is bad, and the character is bad, but it is absolutely the best playing Devil May Cry game. But for all that other stuff, Devil May Cry 3, I think Devil May Cry 3 also has better weapons, but it doesn't have
So
it
you like
doesn't
the
flow
fluidity
like
better than
water
the
like DMC does.
need to kind of take into account the different characters and their
Yeah.
abilities within the game?
Well, it's not that. The different characters are different play styles. So, for example, in DMC, you have a button dedicated to launchers and ground slams. So launchers launch an enemy up into the air, launch you up into the air with you if you hold them. If you push this button while you're in the air, you slam your sword down, and you
Okay.
slam down whatever's with you in the air, and you hit a bunch of stuff on the ground, right? So you have a button dedicated to launchers and slams that's the same across all your weapons. In DMC, the you have a grab attack, which is on there. So ultimately, all this comes down to the fact that there's a couple of control changes so that their grab is on B, but as a result, the air dash to do in midair is from back on the left analog stick to forward on the left analog stick while I'm holding RB, and then I press Y to do an air dash. And it's very hard to pull off. And the reason it's like that is I can't just press forward and Y because that's the slam down, and the reason that's the slam down is there's not a dedicated button. So that one control scheme change has ripple effects throughout the entire game and how easy it is to play. On DMC4, I'm focused a lot more on input than I am about situational awareness and how I want to handle the combat. It's much more like a fighting game.
Mhm.
And there's also, like a fighting game, there's a lot of frame perfect stuff, right? So, like, literally, if I hit a guy within 1 or 2 frames of him hitting me, we'll do, like, I'll parry him
Oh,
no
that
matter
sounds
what
awesome.
it is. Like, I parried the last
Right, of
boss on
course, of
accident.
course.
It's pretty good. By
Completely
accident, I mean
planned.
on purpose,
Perfect
but
execution. I mean,
obviously. So,
of course.
that's all I
And you
got
got
for
that
that.
from that.
I'll stick with it for now. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's been more than 9 days, I think.
Yeah, that's probably over by now. But
Oh, so maybe today's the last day.
uh, no, it's been a week because we
Yeah,
recorded last Saturday, so it's
fucked
been
out of
8
a good
days.
game.
Yep, when you're hearing this, go fuck yourself. Uh, I have some other games, but they segue nicely. I share a couple of them with
Ethan, you've been
Ethan.
playing some
One segues into our
RE6
topic,
Coupe.
so we'll skip that. And who wants to go next? No,
Even
that's
better. I love
you're the
MTG.
worst.
No.
That is one of those shared games. Ideally, he would talk about Magic the Gathering.
Yes, I will talk about Magic the Gathering, but it's not Magic the Gathering like any of the computer-based games. Actually, Magic the Gathering, the card game, because I've been being an ultra nerd this past couple weeks.
So- Ethan, before we talk about Magic the Gathering, the card game, how bad do you think Magic the Gathering
Yeah,
as a
I'm
computer
interested
game is?
interested in hearing this too.
You know,
'Cause I'll
I
tell you, I
haven't
played it.
really played it, so I couldn't tell you, but
So, imagine this is terrible. It's terrible. Because think about all the wait time. Think about every opportunity you have to interrupt with an instant, right? So every time your opponent plays a monster, chooses attackers, chooses blockers, plays a spell,
on the
reacts
computer?
with an instant, every single time
Oh, that
either one
sucks
of you
nuts.
do that, the game pauses to ask the other player if they want to respond. Yeah, it's terrible. That's why in Hearthstone you can't do anything on your opponent's turn. Because imagine in your opponent's turn you had to like click yes or no 15 times depending on did you want to play this instant spell,
So
did
I
you want to
actually
activate this
played.
trap. That's why all the traps are
So way back
automatically
when,
triggered,
in
is
the
so that there's
anonymity
not
of the
that
internet,
interruption of
when,
playing on your opponent's turn.
MSN Messenger was the thing. I'd met this kid, and he had this program he found that you could play MTG with all the cards up until whenever that got released. You build your own decks. I mean, you have access to all of the cards, and basically you run your own game. So it's basically like playing in real life, but the digital version. And that was kind of sweet because it gave me access to all kinds of cards that I would never own. But it's still not really. I don't know. The game feels like something you should really just play with other people in real time, face to face.
So tell us about your Magic the Gathering experience. Did you go to a release tournament? Was that recent enough?
not that I'm aware of. Well, I mean, I didn't go to any release tournament, um, but I did go to a local-ish game store up here in New Jersey. It's Family Fun Games and Hobbies, I think it's called. It's over in Hamilton, New Jersey. If anyone listening is anywhere near there, it's an okay place. It's a really good atmosphere. They have a lot of stuff going on, but everything is just a little bit overpriced. However, $15 for like 1,200 Magic cards is a pretty good price. And it's random and stuff, and so I got one, my wife got one, and I actually ended up getting two and some dice. And then, was it yesterday? Today? Today.
What kind of? Please tell me these were specialized dice, that you didn't just buy dice for the sake of having fancy dice. Because that shit always bothers me. I'm like, give me some fucking Yahtzee or Monopoly dice or whatever. Shit's good enough. Did you get fancy dice, or did they have a different number of sides than normal? Or did you just buy them because you wanted to?
I bought I think it was a D8, D10, and a D6. I have to go look at them though.
Oh, see, that's
So
reasonable.
wait,
You
somebody
don't want to
explain
have
to me the whole
weird looking
dice,
D8s and D10s
thing
and then
with
be
the
rolling
game.
with like a
'Cause
Monopoly die.
I've
Right.
played like twice. Yeah, but what I mean, how is it used within the
You
game?
roll them?
Obviously, I know how to use dice.
You roll them and they show a number.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty how it is.
Because it would say so on the card, and it
Oh,
would tell
okay,
you what to
okay.
do. Roll a die if your number is high. Roll a die of X sides if your number is higher than Y. Do Z.
Great, thanks, Chris.
So the same way you use dice for literally every other thing that uses dice. No problem. Anyway, continue.
So yeah, I bought them,
Oh, you
and
owe me a Black and Mild for that explanation, by the way.
and some of the other guys from work bought their own boxes as well, and then the one guy, he actually went and bought a pre-made event deck. I think he bought Zendikar or something like that. Someone will know what I'm talking about. And so I actually played him earlier today. Well, we had some downtime at work, and he ripped my ass open so wide with the deck that I built versus his pre-made. Yeah. So I've got some tweaks to make.
Yeah, you should learn about deck building. That skill will be valuable in both Magic and Hearthstone.
Well, my deck's not inherently bad. It just couldn't compete with that particular pre-made deck. It's made of a lot of old cards, and older cards, for the most part, are a little expensive in terms of mana cost compared to some of the newer cards. And so he was able to get rolling a lot faster than I was, and by the time I actually got one of my heavy hitters just in my hand, I didn't have the mana for it, and he already had too much board control, and I just couldn't catch up.
So what are you playing? Tell me about where in the color pie you fit.
It's a pure black deck, and it's based primarily around having a few weenies to be laying around on the board, a couple of buff targets with a lot of buffs, and then a couple
Are
of
you
just...
playing a lot of buffs in black?
Oh yeah.
You're doing it wrong.
Well, it's what I had that was useful and interesting in the cards that I got.
So black is not generally minion oriented. Black is burn oriented, which is
Alright,
why
real
all
quick,
the shit,
explain
all the
to me,
minions and buffs you have are
when you choose
expensive
the
because you're not
differences
supposed to be
in the
playing those.
colors
You're supposed to be playing
in an
burns.
overall.
Uh, colors in Magic generally
Okay.
will represent your deck archetype. It's like colors, you can think of colors like classes in Hearthstone, right? So like green in Magic is about
Mhm.
ramping up mana, playing big fat dudes, and it's basically playing druid, right? Black would be like a really spell oriented mage where you have a lot of burn spells, a few minions with utility, stuff like that. But the colors just basically represent deck archetypes. So, for example, when I played, you could tell I'm an asshole because I played black blue and I played blue white. And black blue is very very spell trap oriented permissions deck, meaning that you don't get to do anything
Mm.
unless I decide you do it because otherwise I counter everything you do. It's like playing control warrior, right? It's for assholes. Blue white is a more utilizing minions with really nasty
Interesting.
effects to do stuff
Interesting.
like that.
It,
It's different.
Yep.
Like yellow's like zoo, if I'm not mistaken, right?
There is not yellow.
Huh?
There is no yellow.
Not yellow. Fuck. I'm being retarded right now.
Red?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, my one other friend, he built himself a red goblin deck. Didn't get to see him play it though.
Yeah, playing red is like playing zoo, or it can be like playing face hunter, where the deck is
How about you,
basically
Ethan?
flip a coin
What's your
50-50,
favorite?
you win or lose based on your opening hand.
I can see that. Um, well, there's a few deck types that I really want to try out. I actually, based on the cards that I got out of the one pack, I really want to try and build a red-blue Eldrazi deck.
What's that do?
Um, it's a lot of token-based kind of stuff. So like, you play one card and it'll bring out tokens, and then you play another card and you'll sacrifice those tokens to do some crazy shit.
Okay, so it's more like set it up, burn them for something epic.
Yeah.
Cool. When I played, I only like how one of my friends had a bunch of random cards. Like I don't even know how many. He lost them all now. But anyways, so he had this. It was a black and white angels and these like clowns. And so with his the angels and the clowns, they were basically all flying by the end of the game, and he would whoop my ass. But then I built this rat deck that I did pretty okay with. Um, but yeah, I never had any of my own cards to really experiment. Because I'd always be getting my ass beat, so I was just like, fuck this. I'm going down to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh's a really Yu-Gi-Oh's a really bad game.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I-
Did play that for a while. It is. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a good game to get like younger kids into playing games like card games because it's so simple. Like when I was little, when I was like, I'd say like 12, 13, Magic the Gathering looked interesting, but it looked way too complex for me to jump into it.
Yeah.
But Yu-Gi-Oh
No,
was,
that makes
you know,
sense.
you play a card and
I didn't know
then you
anyone
play
that
another
played,
card,
so
and that was it.
yeah, the show's pretty
So.
alright. The first one, I really like the first one, but otherwise, shit,
Plus the show, you know.
whatever.
Yeah. No, I could
They're
go
just trying to
on
make
for
money.
probably an hour about how the first one was great and how the most recent series are just trash.
Well, that was always the case.
Oh yeah, it's definitely now the show trying to support the card game rather than the card game coming out. Oh yeah, no, it was meant to be the case,
Yeah, I
but the
heard
show
you
was
can't
more
even play
popular than
none
the
of the old
cards
cards
for
anymore,
a
which is
while. Now it's vice
cards I
versa.
have, because they're too much.
I wouldn't say that you can't play them. With Magic, that's the case most times. Magic's kind of how Hearthstone has become. How you can only play the past like so many series of cards. But no, Yu-Gi-Oh! There's like a global ban list, and then you just every time you go to a tournament, you have to check that global ban list, or else you can go in there and be like, "I'm playing this card," and they'll be like, "No, you're out of the
The
tournament."
reason it's like that, Magic has way more formats than Hearthstone, for example. There's there's quite a lot. But the reason cards are banned in Yu-Gi-Oh is, and there's not formats, is because Yu-Gi-Oh cards are too poorly designed for there to be a format, right? Like there are several instant win conditions that
Oh
can
yeah,
be
absolutely.
achieved. Like I had a deck that like in one turn I forced my opponent to discard their all the minions
Oh
in their
holy
deck
shit!
basically.
Do you want to elaborate on this?
It's pretty
Too
good.
much?
No,
Maybe another time.
it's too much for basically no reward. Because I'm gonna tell you how it went, and you're gonna go, "Oh, that's cool,"
Fair
and then
enough.
we're not gonna have anything else to say
I
about it.
only ever had the three blue eyes dragons and the one other dragon. Like he pulls it off on the show. There's one instance where one of the dudes pulls it off on the show. But yeah, no, never played. Didn't know anyone that played. Um,
What have you been playing, Ethan? Is that all you got for? Have you been playing Commander or just standard 1v1,
What, Magic?
Ethan?
Um, so far since I got the box and built a deck out of them, I've only gotten to play one game, so it's only been 1v1. But I know there's like
Uh huh.
quite a few guys that are playing right now, so I'm planning on getting one or two decks together, figuring out which one is best, and then playing in a group game.
Dude, there's a here in Seattle at the Barnes and Nobles downtown. They set up a table, and there's a bunch of dudes playing the game like every day. Um, yeah, I don't know what that's about, but anyways, it looked pretty awesome.
Okay. Man, I don't know if I want to tell it to you on air because I'm gonna spoil the ultimate super ending of Dragon's Dogma. Okay, but check this out. Eventually,
Right.
you kill the dragon. Like no surprise, right? Uh, then hell is basically unleashed upon the world, and then you go and you kill an old god. And then you
Hmm.
basically become a god, right? And when you become a god, you at first it seems like nothing happened. You're back in the world with your character, right? And you walk around, but then you realize you can't talk to anybody, and monsters don't see you, and you can't fight them. So all you can do is walk around the world by yourself, talking to no one, interacting with no one. You can't summon pawns. Your pawn is gone. And if you open your inventory, there's a knife, and you can use it to kill yourself and
That
start
is
the
so
cycle
fucking
over.
epic.
But the whole point is that basically you become a god to stop the cycle of the
Uh-huh.
dragon, right? You break the cycle, and then it turns out that being a goddess sucks, and then you
Yeah,
kill
so
yourself, and
basically
then the game starts
it's
over.
a nod to eternal suffering and um
Oh, dude, yeah, it's awesome. I just want to tell you that because it's like because you have to beat the game, which is very long. Then you have to beat all the extra content, which is very hard and very long. It's like
I'm
60
gonna
hours,
try.
and I don't think you'll ever
I'm
get
excited
there.
for it. I mean, so all I was gonna
It's
talk about
awesome.
in that game is uh the what?
Don't burn the cast. All right, so if that's all we got for Magic: The Gathering, what have you been playing, Alexander?
So I started dabbling in Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. Uh
Uh huh. How's that?
so the game is epic. It caught me right from the first intro. I mean that woman's voice, that whoever the singer is, heavenly. I listened to it probably about 10 times.
Have you ever played a fantasy game before? Because they all start like that.
Dude, but no.
Wait, you play Dark Souls, you'd be like, holy shit, ladies singing. Wait, no, that one's Demon Souls. My bad. What's this game like? Tell me all about this game, even though I know all about this game because I'm the one that told you to buy it. You're welcome.
So more on the game. I played through the first part where you get your 3 pawns, uh, and I learned that you could pick dudes up, so that was pretty awesome. You can shoulder carry
Oh, did you fight?
dudes.
Did you fight the Manicore yet?
Uh, is that the thing with the Chimera?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a Chimera or a Manicore. Yeah, it's a Chimera because it's
It's got like
the
hoofs
lion,
in the
the
back
lion,
and like a
the
lion.
lion, the goat, and the snake.
Yeah, so I got to that part, but here's so nod to technical difficulties. Um, so not only did I have issues with the sound, turns out the charging cord for your 360 controller does not send signals back and forth for the controller mapping. So that's what the issue was, where you didn't believe me that I had tried Googling my ass off. Um, so yeah, I bought a receiver and I hope to continue that
Sorry,
journey.
I learned not to believe people when they said they looked it up when I became friends with Ethan.
I have a special talent.
Damn it, Ethan! Yeah, well, I mean, I expand on that talent heavily, and so I don't really blame Chris for it, but I really did.
So
I
so I want to talk about this the Chimera,
Yeah,
right?
tell me.
Did you experiment with where you murdered it? Because you can murder it in specific places. Like, did you get into the climbing and stuff?
No, 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 no. So here's the thing. So I didn't play the game that much, and so
Oh,
I can't tell you. It's I'm gonna have more when I play through it. But the issue is the controls. It's really not playable at all on the keyboard.
so Ethan, for point of reference, it's basically it's very very Soulsian controls, and he's playing Dark Souls like on a mouse and keyboard,
Wait, he's
basically.
playing on a mouse. Wow.
That port. Uh huh.
I know, but the game is so beautiful, and I really wanted to play it. I did, but I thought, I don't want to ruin the experience for when I get a controller, especially because Amazon fucking Prime. This shit's gonna
Yeah,
be
just get a
here,
receiver if there's like a $7 receivers or whatever.
dude. Yeah, I got one already. It's gonna be here tomorrow or the next day.
Now
Um,
all you need is an HDMI cord. If your laptop has HDMI out, you could just play that shit on your
oh
TV.
man, check this out. So technical difficulties, right? So this laptop that I
Uh
bought,
huh.
which is an HP Z17 workbook, the shit could take 2 batteries.
This podcast brought to you by HP.
Yes, absolutely a failed fucking company that does make pretty good workbook laptops. The issue is it has a fucking Thunderbolt or Thunderbird, whatever it is, so it doesn't have an HDMI out. So I didn't know that when I bought it. I was so excited to buy it. It was an oversight, and so I had to get an adapter for that. Um, so long story short, yes, I'll play it on a TV once I buy a TV, but for now, having the controller will
Alright,
suffice.
so you missed out on what's cool, right? And I'm gonna tell Ethan you're gonna think this is cool. So it's like Dark Souls, except it's more Monster Huntery. Monster Hunter it's basically Monster Hunter. But Dark Souls is very Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter and Dark Souls are very similar in that they're both animation priority, right? So you know what I mean by that, Ethan, right? Like you're locked into stuff. But since it's Monster Huntery, and I don't know if you got to fight this dude yet, but when you're fighting the Chimera, right? Like the lion does a lot of physical attacks, the snake does status effects, and the lion, you have a goat on the thing's back, and the snake is the tail.
Wow.
But the goat on the back casts magic. But since it's Monster Hunter, you have like a climbing system and a stamina meter. So you climb all over this and can murder different parts of it at different times to disable certain abilities. So like if you climb up there and you murder on that goat, right? He can't cast magic at you anymore. And that makes you safer if you're doing archery because his main ranged attack is gone and one of the pawns is a tank. So he'll tank that dude while you can focus on the snake so that way the snake isn't blinding your melee DPS pawn that's with you. The fight can articulate really differently depending on how you build, how you want to fight it, where you attack it.
So wait,
It's awesome.
what build did you end up playing?
I played an archer this time. Last time I played a tank. But this time I played an archer. My pawn was a tank, and I usually got a mage. Because you haven't gotten this far, but you can hire other people's pawns, and other people hire your pawn. So when you hire someone else's pawn, pawns are uh, NPC characters created by other players from their game. So that okay, but yeah, get hyped, dude. When you
Dude,
climb all over that shit and murder
I'm
it.
so super hyped because didn't even think about that. So, but now that I know, it's gonna make for such a better game
Yeah,
for
I'll
me.
ask you what you're playing. Oh, dude, it's so good. It's really good. If you like this, you should move on to Souls afterward.
Yeah, I'll probably play through the Prepare to Die edition.
Uh huh. Well, you should, because that has the DLC.
I mean, that's
Not
what I
that you would.
bought for five
You're
bucks.
you're,
So really,
you're gonna have to
no
You're gonna
fucking
have to
choice.
Google how to get into the DLC. It's not like any other game where the DLC is on the main menu. You have to go to one really obscure area that you would never go back to, kill one specific enemy, go to another specific area that you never have to go to in the game, kill a mini boss, go past this mini boss to where you think you would die, fight a unique enemy, talk to a lady, quit, reload the game, and then there you can use that item and you get teleported into the DLC. It's fucking
Dude,
absurd.
that is. I mean, really?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
really.
not even surprised because when that game was coming out, I was really fucking hype about it, and I read all about the studio and what is it, like Demon Souls or whatever that had come before it, and
Oh man, I imported Demon Souls from Taiwan when it wasn't it seemed like it wasn't going to come out here because the Taiwanese version had English voice acting and menus. So, oh man, I love Demon Souls. I pre-ordered that game before it came. I had that game before it came out here. That's how cool I am. So yeah, what character class are you playing, Alexander?
so I haven't really gotten that far yet. I mean, I'm just smashing with the
Have you, oh, you haven't even picked your class, right? They give you a default
yeah,
character.
just the first one where you pick your little lantern, you know, and I ran around. So here's the question: how important is it to run around and pick up herbs and shit? Like, can I skip that part, or should
Uh,
I early
kind
on just?
kind of. It's kind of
So
important.
I should focus on that.
I mean, you shouldn't focus on it. It's not the main game. It it's important enough that you should do it, but not important enough that you should go out of your way and pick every herb in an area before you go on.
Okay. So like
So
have a
whenever
healthy amount. Like it's not gonna be like
yeah,
Resident Evil or
whenever you
anything,
run by
right?
something. Yeah, whenever you run by one and you get a button prompt, just push it, pick up some rocks, pick up some sticks or whatever. Because there's a lot of crafting. There's a lot of crafting. A lot of crafting. This game is very Monster Hunter. This game is basically Capcom trying to make Monster Hunter sell to Western audiences.
I mean, I like the premise of Monster Hunter, but that was, you know, back when I was primarily a console gamer. Um, so, you know, didn't have
I haven't. You'll have to let me know. I haven't played the Dark. I haven't played the Dark Arisen content actually. I played the base game.
Yeah, I read somewhere
The
they
Dark
don't
Dark
have
Arisen
like a
comes with like.
berserk armor or something. Like you don't get the DLC armor or some shit.
Well, that and there's a lot of
Oh,
content.
the content, yeah, it's gonna be epic. Real quick side note, I'm looking at the hottest rendition of a Mario cosplayer. Wow.
Alexander,
Yeah.
please. Well, you got anything else on Dragon's Dogma? Or are you gonna talk more about it next week?
Dude, well, yeah, next week or whenever I get further out, it's probably gonna be on my YouTube
Yeah.
channel too. Uh,
Oh no,
no
nope. At the
plans.
end, nope.
Did you enjoy how I tried to sneak that in? Oh man.
I'm fucking onto you. All right. All right. So I guess the only other thing that I've been playing this week, Ethan, if I'm not mistaken, and that I had not been playing with like a weird homunculus. You have also. We have been playing
Yes.
Resident Evil 6.
Delicious Tic Tacs.
Oh man, let's talk about some Tic Tacs. You want to explain this Tic Tac thing?
Alright, so people probably who have played any of the other Resident Evil games know that you can combine herbs. And even uncombined herbs, when you slot them into like your heal
Green-
pack or belt or
Green
whatever
only.
you want to call
You
it.
can't use uncombined red or yellow.
Oh, is that it? Okay, so once you combine or get a red or anything like that, you drop them into like your med kit or
That's
whatever.
new to RE6.
And when you that is new to Resident Evil 6. So you drop them into this thing, and there's a hotkey specifically to heal yourself and to heal your teammate if you're close enough. And the thing about it is that
So
you shake out
so
from like a Tic Tac container and eat a pill.
yeah,
or whatever.
in previous Resident Evils, this articulated like a spray, and here you make like it basically looks like acid tabs on a sheet, and then you can load them into a case, and you press the button, and it looks like you get a box of Tic Tacs, and you shake it out, right? And then you eat it, and you restore 1 unit of health, because in RE6 you have units of health rather than just a health bar, right? And
Right.
now it's like kind of Soulsy in that if you repeatedly hit the button, you skip the animation of lowering the case to your hand, and you just keep shaking them out. It's like when you press square to drink an Estus. You can keep pressing it to chug, and you save the animation of lifting it to your mouth every time. But what's amazing about this is it sounds like Tic Tacs, right? But but he manages to shake out one at a time. Chris Redfield is a master. Alexander, have you ever been able to get a specific amount of Tic Tacs that is more than one out of a case? Like three. Like,
A
say you
specific
want
like
three. One is
pre-planned
easy. Anyone can do
amount,
one.
like
But if you want three, right? Right. Because you're like, one, two,
I'd
oh
have to
shit,
do it
there's the
one
whole
at a time.
box, right?
Otherwise, like fuck.
Chris Redfield is
Yeah, no.
amazing.
Usually,
He
I
gets
just
as
I
many
gave up
Tic
on it,
Tacs
dude.
as he wants. No more, no less. He is a fucking god among men when it comes to Tic Tac control.
Dude, he is a Tic Tac boss. Holy shit. That's like Chuck Norris. They gotta be related.
Chris Redfield, the Chuck Norris of Tic Tacs. You heard it here.
Dude, speaking of, there was an amazing montage for Chuck Norris because he turned 76. I didn't know how epic Chuck Norris was until I saw that
Okay.
montage. Anyways, continue.
Uh, Other things that are great about RE6. RE6 is a very mediocre third-person shooter. It's a bad Resident Evil game, and it is a borderline bad game in general.
Why is it bad?
But
Give
it
me the
is
biggest
dumb.
reason why it's bad.
The part where you play it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Aiming is very slow. Controls are overly convoluted because for some reason they felt the need to adhere to a traditional control scheme, even though traditional Resident Evil control scheme, even though they broke from traditional Resident Evil mechanics by letting you strafe while aiming, so you can move and shoot at the same time. And you have like an active dodge button. So they broke from traditional Resident Evil mechanics, but stuck with traditional Resident Evil controls, and as a result, the whole game plays like shit. Because the enemies expect you to be more mobile than the controls really allow you to be. And yeah, you can get used to it, but that's like getting used to getting punched in the testes all the time, right? Like you eventually get used to it. Eventually, your like testes implode on themselves, and all your nerve endings die, and it doesn't hurt anymore. But that doesn't mean it's good.
Dude, wow. That is a.
You've just ceased to feel pain.
Yeah, so basically, that's disgusting, dude. Oh man, can you imagine?
Would you agree with that, Ethan? That
I
analysis?
mean, I
that
haven't
it's a
played enough of it
generally
to
bad
really
gaming?
say I've enjoyed what I've played, but I think the biggest flaw that I've encountered so far is that when
But that
we came back to that portion after quitting out the game, coming back a couple days later, we had run through this entire section, used up all of our ammo, all of our grenades, and we reloaded, and it reloaded
Okay,
to the beginning of the section with all of our ammunition gone.
yeah, but you also had all the skill points that you earned.
Wait, there's skill points in this one?
Oh yeah, let's not talk about that. It's not a Resident Evil game. There are zombies, Leon's in it, and Chris Redfield's in it, and Sherry Burke
Wong
is
is in it
but
too.
it's not a Resident Evil game. It's in name only. Ada Wong's in all of
Ooh.
them, and when Ada Wong's in your game,
Wait,
it's
you just
a
said she's in
shit
all of
game.
them.
Hold up, was there? Let's see. Ada Wong, Resident Evil Wiki. Thank you. Let's see. Ada Wong, first appearance. First appearances, Resident Evil 2. So she was in 2. I know she was in 4. Resident Evil 4 is way less good than people think it is. That game goes on way too long. That's what I don't like about it. So, Ethan, imagine playing Resident Evil 6, but by yourself.
I wouldn't have to heal you as often.
Yeah, but you would also, well, in all fairness, the only reason you have to heal me so often is because you're playing the bitch character, Piers, who's not cool and is kind of a baby about everything, and that's why he hangs back with a sniper rifle, because he's a bitch character for bitch people, right? So his job is to cover the real man, Chris Redfield, myself, and as I'm playing, you know, there's way more dudes than you can handle, and then Ethan's busy getting loot and letting me get murdered instead of, you know, covering me.
Oh no. You severely overestimate what I'm doing. I'm not getting loot. I'm watching you through the sniper scope, just being like, he's about to get fucked. Let me give him a few seconds. Nah, this is too much fun to watch.
Oh, so instead of so not only are you bad at video games, you're also a bad friend. I see. So
Yep. Yeah, just as bad as you
speaking
though.
speak so speaking of being bad at video games, speaking of being bad at video games, Alexander, I heard you were doing some laddering today, and I thought that would be a I was I was thinking about laddering, right? And when you want to ladder up, you gotta try hard. And I was thinking about it, and I try hard in a lot of video games. Ethan, do you try hard in video games sometimes?
Sometimes, not nearly as often as I used
And I
to.
think tryharding would be a cool thing to talk about. So, Alexander? What games besides? First of all, how did your tryharding go today? What were you playing? What rank did you start at? What rank did you end at?
All right, so I started at 25, right, rock bottom. I have not been playing Hearthstone in
Uh huh.
a while, um, good long while actually, for whatever reason. And hold on, burp pause. Okay, started
By
at
the
rank
way, if that's not the
25.
intro, just that by itself, no other words, right before the intro, I'll be disappointed.
All right, let me just add a little marker around here. Um, yeah, I'm gonna leave out my thoughts on the visuals for the intro. It's gonna be
Okay,
epic.
we don't. I don't
Um,
actually care. Continue.
I know you give no fucks. It's gonna be epic still. All right, so
Uh huh.
Hearthstone laddering, rank 25. The biggest reason why I haven't played it is because they switched to standard mode, and they
And
changed their standards.
you took like
Uh,
a month to open your 50 packs for some reason.
yeah, I hadn't opened my 50 packs. That video's got 10 views,
It was
so hype,
totally
hype,
worth
hype.
not playing a video game you like for a month to get 10 views on YouTube. If they
Dude,
all watched
hell
your
yeah.
ads, you probably made almost 3 cents.
Dude, I actually didn't even put
Wow,
ads on
you
that.
just I can't believe you're giving away that kind of gold.
Dude, well, sometimes you have to give to receive. Uh,
This just in. Alexander
so
likes
yeah,
to
so I didn't have
receive.
any decks, right? So I I didn't play, and then we sat down and built the hunter deck that
Okay.
Chris has 120 in a row
I'm
with.
at so with that hunter deck, I am at like 32 wins and 6 losses.
Dude, you suck. It's a nice deck though. I've been killing it,
Oh,
but I was
okay.
playing the
So
zoo
since
from
you don't
rank
understand this
25
deck,
to 17.
for point of reference, it is a
Yeah.
N'Zoth mid-range hunter deck, so it's highly focused on beast and death rattle synergies while also curving out.
And it's amazing. I mean, it just works so well. I can't
Well,
even
it's because Call of the
explain
Wild
it.
is the most broken card in the game. It feels every time I play it, I feel bad because I'm like, buddy, I know this is bullshit and way too good, but check it out.
Dude, I know, and I love two in a row, right? It's the best way to get to ends off, right? You play one on 8, or if you can coin on
Dude,
7, then one
okay,
on 8,
when you say
and then ends
Enzoth
off.
instead of N'Zoth, that sounds really racist. Like, listen here, you fucking Enzoth. That sounds bad. I'm uncomfortable when you say that.
Hearthstone racism.
That makes me uncomfortable.
Hearthstone racism. Uh, fucking tentacles. Anyways,
Just like my Japanese anime.
ah, man. So yeah, so that deck has been great, but I was pumping out the zoo and consistently winning every single game until 17, and then I feel like I started getting fucked by the Hearthstone
Uh huh.
RNG gods
There's
a
not even
little
any
bit.
RNG in that zoo deck,
No, but just the card
except for
order,
Dark
the
Peddler.
way they
Well,
order
that's
your
just
cards.
variance. That happens.
Yeah. But I've been really consistently good on the peddler in the zoo, where I get the card that gives you the 6/6 if you have,
Oh
or
yeah,
4/4
Reliquary
if you
Seeker,
get have.
where you play a 5/5 for
So
1 mana if you have 6 other minions. Turns out that card's
so
really
great.
good when you have a deck that lets you summon like 7 tentacles for 7 mana.
I know it's so amazing. I mean, like I can't even, and because if you have a, say you have a clear board and you pump out the tentacles, for 6 or more minions, they won't even bother with them, right? So then the next turn you could do that, and if you have that 3/5, the fat one that gets one attack for every time you summon a minion. I mean, the deck is just amazing. Like you really just have to watch it play out.
He's
Um,
playing a deck similar to
I've
yours,
lost.
Ethan, except that I don't think he has sea giants in it. Oh
I
no,
have one. I have one. And that's awesome because then you can pop a sea giant for
nothing.
like 5 or 4 mana.
Yeah.
Um, no, so all in all, solid decks. I finally have them, so I've been laddering. I'm hovering around 17, 18 rank. Only been playing for maybe a day and a half. We got what 9 days left of the season.
You should make it your goal to hit 15 at least.
I'm gonna try to. I was hoping to hit it yesterday the way I was winning, and then I just started getting effed.
So yeah, Zoo is more complicated than you think it is.
Yeah, and that's really all it is that it comes down to for me. I don't
Yeah.
play it enough.
Positioning is very important in Zoo, where you play what minions. Because then you draw your dire wolves or your defenders of Argus, and suddenly you say, oh man, I really fucked the pooch here, huh?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I always am reminded, in my beautiful brain of that article that you
Yeah, there's like
had me
five. There's
read.
like several thousand words on positioning minions properly in a Zoo deck.
Yeah, no, that was a great read. I'm glad I experienced that.
But yeah, so you've been trying hard in
Uh,
Hearthstone. What other games have you tried hard in? And why do you try hard? You don't even have to tell me why you try hard. What other games have you been a try hard in?
dude, uh, Warband?
But you don't try hard. I mean, you don't even try hard in
Yeah.
Warband. You turn the difficulty down when the game gets difficult. You say
Dude, stop giving away my secrets.
turn the battle size all the way down until they can only have like 3 dudes on the field. All right, let's go. Okay, so you don't
Oh
try hard,
man.
really. You just like to keep it chill and have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel like Ethan, you mentioned this earlier with like, you know, playing differently back when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
really taking the time to play games and shit. I haven't really I don't know, it's not the same. Like I remember, right? I remember being a kid. I had the Super Nintendo, right? So now, for those of you who may not have realized this, I was born in so I come from Bosnia, right? We didn't really have access to any of the gaming consoles until we started importing, quote marks.
Yeah, I was about to say that means stealing off
Uh,
of a truck, right?
I mean, dude, I don't know where they fucking jack them up, but I know nobody's like
The Super
producing it.
Nintendo was the 5 DVDs for $1 from the Chinese in the flea market.
Well, actually, no. So the Super Nintendo was the Super Nintendo came from my cousins because they lived in Germany, so that one was official. But we had the we talked about this, the Chinese bootleg Super Nintendo or Sega or whatever that came preloaded with like a million games.
It
All
was
those
like it was
garbages.
like 15 games and then like 900 Tetrises, and then it also like melted if you let it run for more than 20 minutes.
Yeah, basically. So, but that one I could replace because it was next to nothing. It was like less than $1, and I'd buy a new one every week because they sucked. But anyway, so I had a Super Nintendo and I had Yoshi's Island, and I remember
Oh,
what I
brother.
learned in
Let's talk about the
dude in the
greatest
first world,
platformer of all time.
dude. Yeah, so in World 1, I think the 7th level, there's a point where if you do what are those little Goomba things?
Shy
The little
Guys?
dudes that attack you in there? Oh yes, Shy Guys. If you spit them out and they roll and hit this one wall, after the 7th one you get a life for every single one. So I would sit there and do that for a
Oh my
whole
God.
day.
Yoshi's Island is like the easiest
Dude,
game.
yeah,
Come on. Okay, well,
dude, I
it's
know,
the
but it was so
easiest game
cool to
until
just
you get into the extra levels, and you're like, oh God, please.
yeah, the extra levels. But see, even back then, like as a kid, I was just like cake, and now I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing this
For the record, Super Mario Bros. 3, kind of a shit Mario game. Super Mario World, really good Mario game. Still not as good as Yoshi's Island. Go fuck yourselves, everybody.
No,
Oh man, you know what? It
dude,
just occurred to me.
100%.
We'll do it after. I forgot we have a question to answer, but we'll take our user a user submitted question at the end. So you tried hard at Yoshi's
Yeah,
Island.
we have one. Dude, oh, so hard. That and Zelda Ocarina of Time. I tried so fucking
Why?
hard for that
It's
game,
not
and
even a
it's
good
not
video
even
game.
like it's not even that hard.
It's not even a good
Say
video
what?
game. Why would you try hard?
Dude, so this is what fucked me, right? And this was back when
Uh-huh.
there was no internet, no fucking guides, none of
I
that.
mean, there was internet by
so
the time that came out, but please continue. Okay.
okay, not for me, bro. Remember,
Ah,
Bosnia, like they're still on
whatever.
fucking dial-up, bro.
I mean, you're
Smoke
like you guys are
signaling
like
that
the
shit
only
across
people
the
who use fucking what is it, Opera?
No, dude, that's Belgium.
Yeah.
That's Belgium, where the entire fucking country is on Opera. I know, insane. How do you even?
It's because
Like-
it's feature phones, like not smartphones, but feature phones, like your Razors and whatnot. The Opera browser there like strips out ton of stuff for optimization, so it's all about feature phones optimizing mobile data, and that's why they use Opera.
No, and that makes sense because they're all about their, little anonymity and like whatever,
Well,
whatever
well,
you
while
wanna,
we're at it, Ethan,
call
do
it,
you have
being
any
safe and
people that
shit.
you want to like make general sweeping statements about? How do you,
Yeah,
Ethan? How
I
do you
already
feel
made
about the
fun of
how do you feel about the polls?
Enzothians.
Fuck them. That's hard.
Yeah, I can't really say
Fuck 'em.
anything about them because I actually have.
You know what? Oh, anyway,
pull
All
up
right,
front.
so I may or may
And
not
my
cut
wife
this,
is
but my favorite
bipolar.
joke of all time
you're not cutting it.
is. And so the
I mean,
continue.
basically.
No, it's
No,
a fucking horrible joke.
No,
in the
you know
end.
what, dude?
but-
I'll tell you what.
Dude, all I'm gonna say is we fought the shit out of them, even if we were under Austro-Hungarian whatever occupation and all that shit. We still fought them hard, and long, and they didn't enjoy it. Anyways,
Oh my God.
continue.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not try and turn this into hardcore
He's-
history or anything.
I was about to say, Ethan, what games have you tried hard in?
You know what? I'd probably say a game that I tried pretty hard in would be Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal 4, actually.
Not even a
you know
good
what?
one?
I had a lot of fun with that game. And I didn't try hard because it was hard or
Okay.
anything like that, but I tried hard because it's like,
But you're.
to unlock everything, you had to just sit and grind, basically.
I remember other games you tried hard in. Do you?
Every first-person shooter that we played together?
Oh, buddy. Star Wars
Oh.
Battlefront 2 on the PS2. We
Oh,
owned
the
that shit.
memories.
So, I got it. Star Wars
What is it called?
Battlefront 2. It was a game by Pandemic. They made a bunch of games. They made some really good games. Ethan and I tried so hard at this game that when I got a cell phone, I chose my mobile provider based on my ability to talk to him on the phone for an infinite amount of time while we played Star Wars Battlefront 2. Because back in the day, T-Mobile had the pick 5, you pick 5 contacts, infinite minutes. So I picked T-Mobile just so Ethan and I could talk on the phone all the time. And we did nothing but play Star Wars Battlefront 2 online. And oh, buddy, I rolled as an engineer where you got that fucking sick, nasty laser shotgun. You could just throw C4 at people and then blow them up immediately, and then you could heal yourself a bunch of times because you were supposed to heal your teammates, you're supposed to repair vehicles, but the engineer had it all. That game was not balanced. Ultimately, when that game started to die, it was you play an engineer or you play a rocket launcher guy, and those are the only classes that are viable because they're cheap as shit. But man, did we try hard, and man, was I the greatest IFTX driver of all time.
Loading up the front of speeder bikes with like landmines and shit?
Oh yeah, and then you just go as fast as possible and jump off at the last second and use it like a rocket that you drove. Yeah, we killed a lot of tanks that way. Yeah, because they're the proxy. People got really mad. Remember when I parked the IFTX tank? I got it up on top of the trees in Kashyyyk, and nobody could even see us, but we're just like raining down like
hell yeah.
lasers and shit. Good times.
Dude, you know what other game I tried really fucking hard in? They just did that. It's a Nintendo game. How do I just... Oh, Starfall.
Oh,
That's the
God.
one. fucking Star Fox.
Star Fox isn't in that game. What other games did we try hard on? We tried hard in, oh man, Call of Duty 4 for the PS3. Dude, we
Yeah.
destroyed people. I remember I had like a 6-1 KDR because I had that like loadout. That it was the only loadout I played.
Wait, was that
No, it
Modern
was
Warfare 2?
It was the first one. That was a
Dude,
great
I
game.
love that game. I actually tried really, really hard in Medal of Honor. Have you guys played Medal of Honor? I feel like that game
The
is
new one?
underappreciated.
We
Well,
played the old
ones.
we played the old one with Grant. Remember where that was the game where I found out you could map multiple actions to the same button, and I mapped every single action to the same button, and then still somehow came in second out of 3 that round with the rocket launcher.
Oh man, that's true.
Yeah, I would push one button, I would jump, crouch, reload, fire, switch weapons, and also like turn around. It's pretty good.
How
They let
even-
you map
what?
every single action in the game to the same button.
Oh man, wow! I can't even. How does that even
You just
work?
push that one button when somebody walks by when you have the rocket launcher.
Oh, so you just
Well,
camp out.
it's not so much that you just camp out as that I didn't have a lot of options. Cause move left stick was the only thing you couldn't rebind, but right stick you could rebind. So my camera controls were also on the same button that did everything else, and the way that worked is when I pushed the X button, I would turn around 180 degrees, so I could only walk forward or backward in a straight line.
Interesting. Huh.
Ugh. It was fun.
Was it fun?
For a match? Turns out that's not a very good game. I don't like it very much. I mean, it was okay, right? But like, why would you play an okay shooter when they were good shooters? Like
Right.
Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was just a Battlefield clone.
Yeah, but it was a good Battlefield clone.
But it was a pretty
Unlike
good
the
Battlefield
newest
clone.
one, which is a okay Battlefield clone, at best.
I disagree. It's a Battlefield clone with no content at all that you pay $60 for and get bored within a week.
Yeah.
Dude, I hate that when you buy shitty games for 60
I
bucks.
bought
and they
Resident
don't
Evil
deliver.
6. Let me tell
You
you
bought
about
it
that.
in a bundle.
No, I've owned it before. I've played the
Oh.
entirety of that game. I bought it again, knowing that it was shit. I paid for Resident Evil 6 twice. Well,
Rookie
actually, I
mistake,
mostly
man.
bought the bundle for DMC. Then I happened to get Devil May Cry 4, and then I figured we could get RE6 on top of that. What did I
Yeah,
try
you strike
hard
me as a
I try
person
hard
that
a
kind of-
lot,
If
right?
you get stuck on something, you
I'm
do
very-
invest a lot of yourself into it.
I'm very competitive. So, yes, the other day I was playing a game of Hearthstone, and I crushed this guy. And I knew I was going to crush him from the beginning, because I'm playing N'Zoth Control Paladin. And what that means is that no matter what you do, I kill all your shit, and then I eventually kill you by playing N'Zoth, getting Tyrion, Sylvanas, and Karin back for free. And there's no way you can possibly ever come back from that. And then I have, like, 60 points of healing in the deck, on top of, like a million board clears, 5 ways to reduce your dude's attack, all that shit, right? So I knew I was gonna win from the beginning. He didn't. He messages me at the end. He says, "Oh, that was a really fun match," and then I respond to him that fun is the battle cry of the loser. And that, and I'm,
Dude,
and you know what?
fucking
I
hashtag
meant it.
Dead.
I try hard when I think something. I don't play a lot of multiplayer stuff because I find a lot of the times multiplayer is a substitute for good solid gameplay and good mechanics. But when I do find one that is good, I go hard. Like my support game in League of Legends,
Yeah.
right? Like, Ethan, you better fucking follow me in when I play a lot of Thresh when I play, and we ride those hooks straight to hell. And if you follow me in, you will barely survive, but we will get a double. If you go in when I don't go in, I'm not
Dude,
gonna
you're
follow you up
fucking
because
cold.
I know it's bad, and I'm
Hashtag
gonna let you
dead
die.
again.
If you don't follow me, if you don't follow me, we both die. But if you do follow me, we get the double.
Usually.
Until our jungler comes in and fucks it up. Oh, wait, remember, it's always the
Always.
jungler's fault. If they
So
were
tell me
good,
about
they
jungler.
wouldn't be playing jungler. No, nothing. So League of Legends is a 3-lane game, 5v5. But there's a top lane, middle lane, bottom lane. You have one person in top, one person in middle, the AD carry, which is a ranged physical attacker, and the support in bottom. And then there's a bunch of neutral monsters in between the lanes in the jungle. And the jungler does that, and then he pops into other lanes to try to turn a... So if he comes into top lane, which is a 1v1, he
Okay.
turns it into a 2v1 and tries to get a kill, and that's called a gank. But whenever people are sucking, they always say, "I had no help from my jungler, no backup." It is always the jungler's fault. It's like playing
Dude,
an MMO.
absolutely.
It's always
As
always
someone
the
That
who
was
played
always the healer's
tank
fault.
in MMOs,
okay. No, it's always the tank's fault until the tank is the one who died. Then it's the healer's fault. You clearly have not played an MMO, Ethan.
Not like real.
Spoilers. It's because all MMO.
dude,
it's because
yeah,
all MMOs
they need
are
to
shit
come up
games.
with a solid MMO that's worth playing.
Well, if it was worth playing, it would be a game that you played a lot because you enjoyed it, and then you would have gotten what you wanted out of it eventually. You would have had a satisfying experience, and then you won't pay for it anymore. The way to get somebody to keep paying for a game
Yeah,
is
it's
to
like
have them be
fucking
borderline
bad heroin.
satisfied all the time.
So what the fuck is WoW doing?
Yeah, I know. That was the... Tell me about it. So, yeah, I try hard a lot. Hearthstone is I've been trying hard a lot. What else did I try hard at? Try hard at Call of Duty 4, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Modern Warfare 2,
Oh.
you ran around like Solidus Snake with the twin P90s.
With the dual P90s? Dude, I murdered a lot of dudes that way. When I make a loadout in Call of Duty 4, I don't say, "Oh, this gun's pretty good and I like this perk." I'm like, "What combination of these things would result in the most extreme possible outcome?" And with the P90s, it's running around at the speed of Doom guy, spraying 1,000,000 bullets per second. Doesn't matter that my hit reticule is like the size of the whole screen, because I'm just putting out that many bullets, and then my first 2 reloads are free because I have the duct tape mags. So, who gives a shit? And you
Yeah,
have
no,
throwing
dude, that
knives?
sounds pretty epic.
Pretty good. Who cares? I I I don't try to make a good loadout. I try to make a loadout that is incredibly extreme in one particular way, and then abuse that
That
as
sounds
much as
pretty
possible.
legit. I mean, how, I almost wouldn't expect you to play any other way.
That's how I play all my video games. Well, that's all I got for tryharding.
Dude,
Why do you
'cause
guys?
it's
Why,
worth it.
Alexander? Why do you try hard?
I used to think so.
Is it though?
I used to think so. But I think I tried hard at
Uh-huh.
games where maybe they don't lend themselves to, a good result if you try hard.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, that's what I mean. Or
games
like games
designed for
where
children are probably not good for tryharding. Though, I mean, oh, okay. There's a game I tried hard in for a little while. I got into the competitive Pokemon battling via Smogon, and I was real good at that. But talking about tryharding
Dude,
in
that's
children's
really-
games, I just didn't want to let that one go.
sorry,
That's
Dude, oh
basically
my
like
God, could you
tryharding rock
imagine?
paper scissors.
like, imagine the kid that's try harding at rock paper scissors.
Yeah, well, that's what Pokemon is, and there are tournaments like World Championships of rock paper scissors,
Dude,
and there
so
are
what's your
strategies.
rock
by
paper
the way.
scissors strategy? Why
I
not?
know.
You got nothing to lose.
I'm not gonna tell you. Because fuck you. One day we're gonna rock paper
Dude,
scissors.
you
You're
lose
gonna know my
anyways.
strategy,
I have
and
a
then I'm gonna
foolproof
lose.
strategy. It's untouchable.
I am. Whoa. Okay. Not even tryharding, but bragging about how good you are at rock paper scissors. Jesus fucking Christ. All right. So Ethan, why do you try hard? Do you try hard anymore?
Not nearly as much as I used to. It's one of those things where it's like you realize that if you're gonna invest time and effort into things as you get older, you're like, this is worth tryharding, whereas that is clearly not. So like
I
Hearthstone,
remember. You try
I
hard. You
kinda
tried hard at.
kinda
You
try
tried
hard.
hard at Soul Calibur 4.
What was that?
You tried real hard at Soul Calibur 4. It's just a shame that I
You
was
know
always
what?
better
We
than you.
kinda equaled out.
No, it's that I kind of stopped caring. I mean, we could go back to playing some Skullgirls if you want.
See, I was not of the same
You know that game where I
generation.
brutally
You were
dominated
just a few
you?
years ahead of me, and due to that fact, you were of the generation that played a lot of arcade fighter games.
No, I didn't. I never went to an arcade. The closest thing we owned was Street Fighter 2, and I think that's a shit game. I got good by practicing frame perfects in Guilty Gear X2 by myself, and then a lot of Virtua Fighter 5 because that's a
Which
finesse
are
game.
both arcade fighter games. I didn't say that you went to an arcade. I said you
Yeah.
played arcade fighter games.
Okay. Well, I mean, all fighting games are arcade fighter games. Come on.
Oh yeah.
I am pretty into that one Sailor Moon fighting
Really?
game. I can't remember what it's called, but it's really good. No, but the way in that
Okay.
it's bad is what makes me say it's good. So there's no block stun. So what that means is if I block an attack, I don't have a couple like 5 or so frames where I
Oh,
can't
that's
attack
like the
you.
first
I can
Mortal
just
Kombat game.
immediately attack right after blocking. And you can cancel any animation into a block, and also normal attacks bounce off of each other, so if we both punch at the same time, they bounce. So that game turns into a total shit show that I really appreciate. It's bad. You have to be into fighting games enough to appreciate how the ways that fighting
Dude, yeah,
game is
that
bad
reminds
make
me
it
a
a
lot
unique
of
fighting game.
Mortal Kombat, the first one that I try-harded a lot in.
Mortal Kombat's just
Dude, I think it's
Yep,
because
I
we
never had
had
any Mortal
limited
Kombat.
good games, not counting the Chinese bootlegs, so that it kind of. Dude,
I
that
had a
sounds
lot of
pretty
good
dope.
games because my dad was really into games.
I injured myself
And
one
he-
summer and then was renting games from this kid for like 3 weeks because I was bedridden.
I try hard because I do not enjoy a thing because I'm a mean dude and I
Yeah,
like to make
you don't-
other people feel bad. And if I can do that by ruining if my leisure activity is ruining other people's leisure activities, and that's why I like to try hard. I enjoy the suffering of others. Like, I want that dude to add me as a friend after that Hearthstone match and complain about how I was lucky and be salty because, oh man, I just bathe in it. Bathe in it.
That's the lotion you put
That's
on
how
your
I
skin.
that's how I keep my skin looking so nice. I exfoliate with their tears. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna segue out of tryharding, and we had a question. We had a question from @TomTrashity. He wanted us to talk about E3 upcoming games. I'm gonna handle this segment by myself. It won't take too long. Fuck E3.
Dude, you're fucking
Fuck
horrible.
you. That was a really stupid question, and you're an idiot. Right? I mean, here's my thing. Here's my thing. Do you really who gives a fuck about E3? E3 is a chance for other people who write for sites that barely talk about video games and actually just show a bunch of movie trailers. IGN, right? They're not really those sites aren't about video games. E3 is an opportunity for them to
Just
tell
play
you
the
what to
fucking video
think. E3 is a chance for publishers to tell you what you think. If you want to know what you think about a video
Dude,
game,
but
just watch
people don't.
watch a fucking trailer and have your own opinion
Dude.
and stop relying on other people for your own fucking opinions. So fuck you, Tom Atrocity. That's where we at. That's all we got for the show today, by the way. So let's close it up because I gotta go. I have been Chris Taylor. I don't have anything to plug today other than go fuck yourself. Ethan, do you have anything to plug? Where can people find you? Does it matter?
It doesn't really matter.
Alexander, just do your plugs.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. Everyone,
Alright.
the joy of this show.
Okay,
go
well,
fuck yourselves,
I'm
Chris. Have fun.
I'm gonna disconnect. Alexander can continue to talk by himself to a microphone.
Dude, I'm not gonna do that. Alright, peas and chicken grease.
Okay,
everyone.
you say you're not gonna do that. I'm gonna skip to the end, and there'll be a half minute of you reading the YouTube link for every video you've ever released.
Dude, I'm not gonna fucking do that.
It'll be like that sketch in 30 Rock where Tracy Jordan's stand-up act is reading the phone book, except it's you reading your like just a notepad document of YouTube links.
Dude, so real fast, somebody else, user said that you sound like Mr. Sark. I'm not really sure who Mr. Sark is. But anyways,
I don't know who Mr. Sark is either, but if he sounds like me, he probably sounds incredibly handsome.
yeah, no,
and
beautiful,
like a wonderful human being.
it must be. It must
Whereas
be.
if you meet him in real life, you realize he's ugly as sin and is a terrible human being.
Well, you know, I'm sorry. Ethan, I know you're mad
You've got
because
a
they
face
sent
for
they
radio,
sent the
Chris.
well, I know you're mad. You got to understand the listeners. Ethan's just really mad because Ethan he had a lot of acne when he was younger.
Aww.
So what before they sent the new rover to Mars, they had to do a test run on Ethan's face exploring all the craters in the mountains. So
Dude,
that's
fucked
where
up
that's
beyond
but
fucked up, dude,
but
Chris, come on.
but Ethan, even though it's bad for you, you contributed greatly to modern science, and I and America thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
That's all. That's all for a podcast. Have a great night.
see ya, everyone. Good day. Good night.
And my recording is off.
All right, sweet. I'm gonna. And now, for our feature presentation.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing.
Not just our pride, but our security is at stake.
The country is in dire trouble.
Ja sam postao dio inženjerske ekipe u jugoslovenskom svemirskom programu.
Obviously, this had to be done in
Difficult and dangerous world in which we live. Mr. President, this is a difficult and dangerous world in which we live.
Problems started almost immediately.
Amerikanci su pobjesnili na to.
Za glavno ameriško obveščevalno agencijo CIA sodelovanje ni potekalo po naših željah.
Now, there was an assassination attempt on Tito's life while he was staying in New York.
Jer nije predsjednik sve mogući. Tako da nije tako lako. Mom, those Yugoslav bastards right out of the off there. I really mean it. Okay, we've had a problem here.
Thanks, Grandma.